that last week. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much, Scholar Musa. You really learned a lot, and hope you have put what you have learned into practice. So please, anyone who want to share his thought again? Okay, Scholar Mariam, if you can hear me, please kindly unmute your mic and share your thought with us regarding the last webinar session. Scholar Mariam Abdul Mumin. Is she around? You guys don't want to talk. Please feel free to share your thought with us. What you will say, someone might benefit, might not really gain what you are. We have similar, different way of understanding it. You might understand something, and someone maybe in one way didn't get what you have gotten. So if you share your thoughts, we might end up benefiting one another with ideas. Please share your thoughts with us.
So may I share mine, sir?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can go ahead, sir.
Okay, I think sometimes in 2022, that was the first time I crafted a CV, and it was alongside one of my friends, and I think he's also on call here, Scholar Shuaib. We were trying to apply for an opportunity. I think it's actually is a country representative position with an international organization, and we were asked to craft a CV. We do not have a sample, but we have a sample, but we've never crafted one. So we have to search for information online, do a lot of things. And because we have never attended a program where people were taught how to kind of craft a CV, but we were able to create something, even though I had to use a template online. And at the end of the day, I wasn't able to download it before the deadline. So I ended up applying, but I submitted a screenshot instead of a PDF version of my CV. So I think, judging by the last webinar, I believe scholars have learned a lot. Unlike me, who couldn't even craft a compelling CV during my first application. So I think it's high time we move to the next item on the agenda, because time is for no one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing with us this experience. It's quite wonderful. As scholars don't want to share their thoughts. I don't know. The community of scholars are feeling shy to take. I don't know why. Scholars
well, I don't think they don't. Just believe they are kind of reserved about it.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask, did anyone here tried crafting a CV within the period of last webinar and today's webinar? If any, please kindly raise your hand. I will ask you to talk. Just indicate, signify with your favorite emoji if you have tried one. Yes, Scholar Viola want to talk. Indeed, Scholar Nimat, please go ahead too. Scholar Viola, please go ahead to talk. Okay, Blikis Yahaya, if Blikisu, please go ahead to speak. Scholar Blikisu Yahaya, our section. Okay, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, you asked if any of us has tried crafting a CV from the last webinar to this webinar. I also tried crafting one that is academic CV using what I learned from what Dr. Yahya said. I really learned a lot, and I was able to craft a good one and apply for opportunities. Thank you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Wonderful. What we have learned, we should try as much as we can to be putting it into practice. It's not only to be attending webinars. Please, whatever we learned, let's try as much as we can to practice practice and practice and practice. Let's keep learning, let's keep moving, let's keep pushing till we win. Fired up, ready to go. Please kindly indicate your presence with your favorite emoji in the comment in the chat box so the webinar can proceed. It's almost time for this agenda. On to you, sir, the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the wonderful review session of the last webinar session. So while we were on the second item on the agenda, our facilitator in person of Dr. Olamide Olaniyi joined the call. He is the facilitator for today's session, who will be taking us through the tips and tricks for earning a winning recommendation letter. I know we are all excited about today's webinar because it is an interesting topic, a very vital topic. So next on the item of the agenda, I'll be calling our social media officer too, in person of Zariat Ayoade, to read his brief citation to us. I know you guys will enjoy the citation. You guys will know that this person we invited this time around is a very resourced person. So I call on our social media officer to read the citation for us. Scholar Zaria.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zaria Ayade, Social Media Officer 2 of University Scholars Forum, and I'll be reading the citation of Dr. Olamide Olabiyi. Olamide Olabiyi is an impact and value driver, very much committed to service to humanity. He was a one-time head of the Students' Union of Lautech in the year 2019 to 2021. He was also privileged to serve as the president of Ibadan Catholic Youth of the Central Deanery from 2018 to 2021, among others. He graduated with a first-class honor as the overall best graduating student in his set 2019-2020 for his bachelor's, and is presently a PhD student of nuclear engineering. He happens to be the student council representative of the International Students Club (ISC) and African Students Association (ASA) of the Missouri University of Science and Technology. He is also the incumbent General Secretary of the American Nuclear Society of Missouri S&T Student Chapter. Olamide's quest and constant strive to better position himself is evident in his multidisciplinary approach to earning a certification in both accounting and Cisco networking that he is enrolled in. He is passionate about making positive changes in his immediate environment as he strives to live a life that brings light and inspiration to everyone around him. Kindly join me to welcome our facilitator for today, Dr. Olamide Olabiyi. Thank you.
Doctor.
Dr. Review.
Okay, thank you for the correction. Doctor review is better. Good evening, everyone. Scholar Umar, can I go ahead now? Can you hear me?
I have the floor, sir.
Yes, you can go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. So, like, point of correction, I think someone corrected that already. I'm not a doctor yet, so like, doctor review is fine. We'll get there someday. Thank you. I would like to share my screen with the. I hope the technical team will allow that for this presentation. So
you can go ahead,
I'm
sir.
working on that now. I'm trying to do that now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I
So
want to tell you have 40 minutes for the presentation, sir.
thank you. Good evening, everyone. 40 minutes. That should be 11:30. Sorry, 5:30. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Olamide Olabiyi, and I'm a PhD student in Missouri University of Science and Technology, studying nuclear engineering and radiation science. So I would just want to let us know that this presentation, I want us to make it as interactive as possible, and it will be very engaging and very discussive as well. We'll be discussing a lot. So I go by the name Olamide Olaniyi, and my privileged presence here is an evidence of strong relationship type. So I know maybe wondering like, what's this guy saying? What's the meaning of this? How will he start a presentation with this? Anyways, the topic we are to talk about today is demonstrating strong relationship ties to earn winning recommendation letters. So I'm just using this opportunity to let you know that I'm on this platform by the virtue of a relationship I have with somebody. I don't know if the person is on this call right now, but then this is just a product of a strong relationship I have with somebody who connected me with somebody here as well, and that's the result you are seeing today. So that's just to let you know how important our relationship can be in our everyday in our day-to-day life. So I know some of you won't like what am I saying. So, but let's move on. When we continue, we'll get to like dissect this topic properly. That's my name. That's my picture. In case my physical face here is not matching what you have on the flyer, it happens sometimes. You don't judge a book by its cover and don't believe everything you see on social media. So that's an evidence. I would want to give a quick story, and that would be so in 2023, yeah, 2023, I completed my NYSC. No, sorry, 2022. Scratch that. I completed my NYSC, and while I was completing my NYSC, in the week of my NYSC, I was actually, I was working in like 3 places. So I was not this kind of, I was the kind of corporate that was working in like multiple places. I was not just typical corporate that was fixed to one particular PPA. So one of the places I was working as as an admin officer, and it was an accounting firm where they were teaching students on how to, get accounting certification. So, and that's what my bio says. I'm also on the path of getting a certification in accounting, ICANN to be precise. So while I was doing my accounting, doing my ICANN, I was taking a student. She was in secondary school. I was taking her accounting. So some of you might be wondering, how is someone in STEM teaching someone in accounting? There is no limit to what you can do in life. So I was teaching the students accounting, and the mother was very impressed with how she was doing in accounting and other and the likes. And before you knew it, she engaged me one of these days and told me, what are you what are your plans after NYC here? Do you plan to stay here? Blah blah blah, and all sorts. And I was like, no, if I get opportunity, I will leave and get to work. Funny enough, I didn't realize that I was talking to a bank manager of a bank, of a popular bank in Delta State. So I was having a worry, and from there, she just told me, okay, once you're done with your NYC, I can work. Do you want to work with us here in Warri, or you want to go back to Lagos? And I said, I want to go back to Lagos. And from there, that was where she worked me my movement from Warri to Lagos to the headquarters, and I was working with the headquarters of the bank in Victoria Island. And I was not just working in any regular team. I was not working as a teller. No, I was working with the forex and exports exchange team, and that was like one of the biggest teams you can work with in the banking system. So that's that about that, and that was how I got that particular my first job after my NYC. I did my passing out parade, I think on a Wednesday. Over that weekend, I traveled. I left that state and went back to Lagos to go and resume a job on a Monday. So I'm just telling you this to know the value of what a relationship can do. Also, I'm also the person who, after 4 months in that particular banking sector, I applied for a graduate training event or program in another manufacturing company. And I went through all the rigorous processes from the interview, the different stages of interview, and I got to the last stage and I got the job. And I started working. So once upon a time, there have been an engagement with people, and people like, I have friends who always tell me that there's no way you can get a job in this country without having connection. So my story is kind of very funny because I can relate to the two. I can relate to the aspect of, I can relate to the aspect of getting a job through connection, and I can also relate to the aspect of getting a job by merit as well. But then, why am I saying this? I'm saying this to just like commend the convener and the team organizing this, because I don't know whether it's coincidence that is making you pick me, come and take anchor this session. But then I know even if I'm not the best person for this topic, I'm actually not the worst person to speak on this particular topic. So not to waste much of our time, let's just dive straight into what we have for today. So now, what does it mean to get a recommendation? And what is the winning recommendation letter? What is the relationship tie? How do you demonstrate having one? a recommendation. What do you understand by recommendation? Anybody? I can't really see my screen, my chat box, and I'm just seeing my slide. So please, the moderator, you can just anybody just randomly pick one person to. What do you understand by a recommendation? What does it mean to get a recommendation? Anyone? Anyone can signify by raising of hand or can use
Scholar
the chat box.
Fatima.
All right, please go ahead.
Getting a recommendation letter means getting someone to vouch for you, like for your qualification and other stuff like that, and your performances and your
Thank you.
integrity.
Yeah, thank you. That was awesome. Like the word vouch, that was what I wanted to hear. Vouch, like getting somebody to vouch for you, somebody, not just any kind of person. So when you say somebody, somebody from the place of authority,
Sorry,
somebody
sir, I
that
think your
has the
slide is not moving yet.
no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm still on this slide. I'm still on the introduction.
Okay,
I'm not moving
all
on.
right.
Thank you. So having someone that is having the moral obligation to actually do that, it's not just any kind of person. You can't just go to the street and meet a random person walking on the street and say the person should vouch for you. You look at the quality person. You look at someone that actually has what you intend to get to that recommendation. That's the kind of person that you want to vouch for you. That's the kind of person you want to endorse you for anything. And that's why you see even in recommendation does not just limit to academic, and that's why my presentation today I will not be limited to I will not be limiting it to academics because there's life outside academics. Like academics is a very good platform, but then there's life. We have the professional life, and we have the academic life as well. So I'll be linking all of these things together. So recommendation is actually a suggestion or a proposal or a vouch for somebody by another person who is actually of that particular authority, who is speaking from the place of authority. So by the place of authority, what do I mean? I can't be going for governorship or election. Let's assume I want to be the governor of Sokoto State, and I want someone to endorse me, and I go and meet the what can I say? I go and meet just a regular person, a random person on the street. I just go and meet a bike man and say endorse me. No. Why? Because that person is not having that authority. It's not in the place of that authority to actually endorse me. The kind of person I'll be looking at, the chairman of my party, I'll be looking at the president, I'll be looking at fellow governors in the country, I'll be looking at the rest fellow governors, I mean other governors in the country, I'll be looking at organizations, NUC, TLC. I'll be looking at a lot of organizations who actually have that authority to vouch for me. So, and that's why this particular topic is very important because, like I've said now, I've given you an instance that it's not just limited to academics. Even when you leave school, you still need to get recommendation from people. So, what is a winning recommendation letter? Now, for me, a winning recommendation letter for me is any letter that has been written by anybody and has gotten you what you desire the most. Like what that's gotten you the intention you actually needed the letter for. So that's what I call recommendation letter. But then that's what I call the winning recommendation letter. But then I know if you go online, you check mini, it's just tell you about things that will be said about you or your strengths, your somebody that can write so much about you, about your strength, can dwell so much about your strength and speak very well about you. But then for me, that's not a winning recommendation letter because no matter how much somebody is able to speak well about you, if that letter does not achieve the desired purpose, it's not a winner. It's not a winning recommendation letter. No matter how perfect the person is, no matter how great the professor is, no matter how great the president is, if you don't win the election, you will not consider that particular recommendation letter as a winner. So a winning recommendation letter is any letter that gets you the desired results you actually intended or you've always intended to get. And what's the relationship type? This is very basic, like our relationship, how we relate to each one another, how two or more persons, how they commune together in a society. Nigeria, we are actually a communal community or a communal society. That means we have this kind of mindset whereby we have this family lifestyle, we have this communal lifestyle, and that's an edge for us. And as a Nigerian, make sure you don't lose that edge. That edge will make you stand out outside of the country, even outside anywhere you find yourself. But then you must be able to know how to use that particular skill of communal relationship. So how do you demonstrate having one? That's what we're about to have for today. So let me know if the slide is moving now. Do you have the outline? Can you see my outline?
Yes.
Are you seeing the next slide, please?
Yeah. No, sir.
You
You
can
can
see.
go to the poster.
Can you see
I can
outline?
see.
Can you see the next slide?
I can see the outline, but I am
Okay,
not
all right,
seeing the
thank
slide.
you. I'm not seeing the slide.
I can see the
It's not
slide. I
it's
can
not
see the
moving
outline,
yet.
but I'm not seeing it moving.
No, I'm not moving. I'm not moving. I'm not moving. I just want to be sure. Yeah, I'm on page 4. I'm on slide 4. Sorry. So outline in this presentation, I'll be talking about. We'll talk about code, some code. Look at some code, some popular codes, social relationship, the thin line, connection. What's the word? What does it mean to people? Say people say we have connection. What slide number are we seeing, please? Are we seeing slide 4, number 4?
We're seeing slide one.
No, sir. This slide one, sir.
Mm, no, that is.
If I may
So
ask, can you just send me the slide so I can present it from my end?
yeah, I can share you. Can I get
Send it.
like an
Yes,
email
the
or something?
email okay, I will send you the email now so you can just forward it to me.
All right. Let me have the email. I'll forward it to you now.
Put the email in the chat box.
All right. Thank you. Where's the email?
Yes, I have dropped the
Okay.
email.
Yeah. Thank you. I've seen it.
Okay. I'll be
Yes.
expecting it.
I'll send it now.
Okay, prior to him sending the presentation slide, I hope our scholars have been following the whole conversation and learning a lot, because getting a recommendation actually starts with uh, setting on the relationship, setting the relationship to move forward. So when you have relationship, then you can actually say, okay, you can be confident enough that okay, you'll be getting a good recommendation later. So have you sent it?
I'm about sending it. A minute, please.
I'm still expecting.
Uh, I sent it already. Let me know if you get it.
Received, sir. I am about to start.
I apologize for the delay. So,
Hello, can you see my screen?
Okay. Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can go to like slide 4. I'll just run through that.
Okay, outline.
Yes. Okay.
Are we together, sir?
Yeah, I'm with you now. The outline. So I'll be talking about some codes, social relationship, the thin line, connection. There's a world called connection in the country, like in our society as a whole. Recommendation letters, professional world, academia, and conclusion. So we can move on. Next
Can I
slide.
move to the next slide?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Can you see my screen, sir?
Yeah, I can see you. I can see you.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some, I call this status quo quotes because they're like quotes that you should, have you should know actually. And normally I would have asked for our opinion or what we think about each of those quotes, but then we've wasted quite a few minutes now, and I will not be able to do that for all of the quotes. But then the first one is, "We stand on the shoulders of giants." Anybody familiar with this particular quote? Or anybody familiar? Just one person. Anybody familiar with this? "We stand on the shoulders of giants." Anybody familiar? If you're familiar, just put in chat box you're familiar. Let me just know. And if you're familiar, where do you come across this particular quote? Anybody? Where do you come across this particular quote? "We stand on the shoulders of giants." Anybody? It's a popular quote. "We stand on the shoulders of giants." Anybody? Yeah, someone said, Ibrahim said is familiar. So where do you come across particular quotes? Where somebody, anybody? We're all scholars here now. So I think I've answered the question anyways with that statement I made now. So that statement is actually on Google Scholar when you try and when you're trying to make your research. So we are a researcher here, or you're an undergraduate student here, and you're trying to do a research and need to get papers, journals. If you go to Google Scholar, it's always there. Underneath it, "We stand on the shoulders of giants." What does that mean? That means nobody exists from nothing. No, not there's no way anything can exist out of nothing. There must have been something. So there must have been like a baseline. So everything we are doing in the world of technology, in the world of STEM today, is actually based on what some other people have done, what some other scholars like you have done, our forefathers, our forefathers in terms of scholars. So that's what they have done. Another thing is, it takes two to tango. When you say it takes two to tango, you can see that two to tango means there must be two parties. That is, it takes two people to agree, and it is when two people agree that you can actually have progress. And next thing is, people don't care what you know until they know you care. I like this one so much. I think I heard this from a particular gathering of nuclear, and what brought about this, what we were trying to explain with this was that we're trying to talk about nuclear. There's a misconception with nuclear energy whereby people tend to like think nuclear energy all about the bomb, all about the nuclear war, nuclear weapons, and all that kind of thing. So you don't come and start sounding defensive and say, "No, nuclear is not about bombs, it's not about nuclear war." No, you need to show care, you need to show concern for people before they even want to listen to whatever you know. So that's what it says. People don't care what you know until they know you care. So if I'm here speaking to you and I don't care about how we are going to get better at the end of this seminar, at the end of this presentation. I don't care about what is going to come outside of this presentation. Nobody's really going to give me that attention. I want to listen to me, like, no matter what you know. And that's why you see so many people, so many persons in the world, so many persons actually know so much, but then nobody gives a damn about them. Nobody wants to listen to them. Why? It's not because they don't know. It's because they don't care. And they feel those kind of persons are the kind of people we call, I think in schools, we call them ITK. So if I don't know if ITK works on your campus, those are the kind of people called I too know. So it's possible somebody will be in the same lab with another person, and the person knows so much than me, but then the person does not have empathy, does not show care, does not show concern. You see people not going to that person despite knowing so much. So people are not concerned about what people know. People are actually concerned about how much you care before they give you that listening ear. Another one is, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help other people get what they want. I'm a kind of person who believes in giving. So it's in giving that you receive. And who are the people you are giving to? You are giving to people in your community, people in your immediate environment. The last one is, success is not how much you make. It's about the difference you make in people's lives. You can see all of these quotes, they are all revolving about one particular thing, about people, about relationship, about impact, about values, about just relationship. So you can see where we're going to. So, but there's a particular quote missing in this particular slide. This particular slide. I don't know who can guess that particular quote. It's a popular quote that should go with this particular kind of topic we're discussing. So who knows what that quote is? Just omit yourself and just say it. It's a very popular quote, and I didn't put it here on purpose. Anyone? Anyone? There's a popular quote that should be here. Abdul Rashid, Abdul Karim.
Yeah, I think it is what goes around comes around.
Well, that's good as well, but that was what I was looking for. Any other person? Well done. Any other person? There's a popular quote. There's a popular quote that goes here in a kind of presentation like this. It goes here. Any other person? You can put it in the chat box as well.
Scholar Salaman Sanusi.
Okay, the popular quote is okay. Someone there.
Yeah, so we rise by lifting others.
Okay, all these quotes, they all make sense, but then there's a popular one. You guys are not telling me. It's actually your network is your what? Your network is your net worth. Yeah, it's very popular. People say your network is your net worth, your network is your network. Anyhow you want to say it's competitive. So your network is your net worth, your net worth is your network. So no matter how you want to, whether you go front or you go backward, it all means the same thing. So, and what do they mean by that? I know most of us know what that means. So to the next slide, please. Social relationship. Like I said, the first thing we talk about is social relationship. I want to think of social relationship as a kind of currency because it has actually worked for me and it's worked for me, and for many of us, I'm sure must have been experiencing the dividends of social relationship, maintaining a good and standard social relationship. I don't know. I don't want to give a lot of story, but then I can't count the number of times I've actually benefited from this particular value. So, how do you build social relationship? How do you build social relationship? How do you establish that relationship? You can't even build what you have not established. So, how do you establish a social relationship with somebody? And it's not just somebody, like I said at the beginning of this presentation, you need to establish that kind of relationship with quality people, people that you know you would get or you would benefit from, people that you know you would they actually have that authority to actually recommend you for things or to actually give you that connection, to actually give you that opportunity. So I listed some things as the trade-offs, and these are like the clever ways. These are the clever ways of achieving this particular social relationship. You can see from the acronym, from the first letters of all of the words, you see that we can form clever out of it. So the first thing is courtesy. The first thing as a person is you must have courtesy. What is the meaning of courtesy? That is having regards, having that kind of cautious respect for people, having that kind of having that kind of regard for people is what we call courtesy. So many of us we live our life and some people don't care. Some people live a kind of I don't care kind of lifestyle. You can't live that kind of lifestyle and think you are going to build a proper social relationship. You need to care. You need to show that courtesy. Most times you say courtesy demands that's what's expected of you. It's expected of you to always do this, and just like some things are basics for us. You should actually learn all of these things and know that some things are actually required are basics. So the first thing is courtesy. Another thing is listening. Some of us, we are good speakers and we are bad listeners. We don't listen. And one way to actually build a relationship with people is actually listen. People appreciate people that just pay attention to them and listen. I have sacrificed a lot of time in my life listening to people, not because I want to listen, just because I know the value of listening. Because when you stand and you listen to people, when you give them that audience, you listen to people, especially people that are actually of higher position than you, people that you're looking up to, people that are actually there to guide you. When you give them that attention, you listen. No matter what they are saying, there might be things they are saying that that doesn't actually interest you, but then give them that listening ear. You must listen because those are the kind of sacrifices, those are the trade-offs. Trade-offs mean something you give in exchange of another thing. So all this thing I'm doing, listening to that person is actually just for me to just to get establish that relationship, so that we cannot build on it. And by the time I will need the person's help, it will not be a difficult thing to get the person's help. So this thing, when I was on campus, when I was the head of the students union, sometimes my GSA will be seeing a lot of things that I don't need at that point in time, maybe just different G's. But I'll give him listening here. I must listen. I won't say, as I want to go and I have a place I'm going to, even though there's a way you excuse yourself, but then try to always listen to people. Try to always listen to people you're trying to build a relationship with. Another thing is emotional intelligence. This is very important. Like you cannot underestimate what emotional intelligence is. In fact, emotional intelligence encompasses a lot of things. That's where you find empathy. That's where you find sympathy. That's where you find the proper human relationship as well. So emotional intelligence means the fact that you're able to like read your environment. You're able to put yourself in the shoe of your neighbor, of your friend, of your mentor, of your professor, of your lecturer, of your boss. So trying to think what would happen if you're in that particular situation, the particular shoe as well. That's what emotional intelligence is. Another thing is values. You can't build relationship with, if you're trying to build relationship with people of quality, you must come with values. You must come with values. You can't just be ordinary and say, I want to build relationship with somebody that is actually up there. No. People that are up there, they actually relate to people of high values, of good values. So you must have a good value system before you can be able to build a relationship with all these kind of persons. So values, in the sense that value is not just something you can go and buy in the market. You must have trained yourself. You must have trained yourself along the line. And values, there are so many values that we have. Honesty is a value, integrity is a value, dignity is a value, so many things. Those are values that you must bring to the table. Those are the things that the people up there above you actually appreciate. Another thing is expressing gratitude. You must never be tired of expressing gratitude. Yes. So you might have somebody always be able to check back and say, oh, I'm thanking you for this and this and that. Be expressive. Be expressive. That's why I use expressing gratitude. Some of us, we always think in our mind, but we don't express. And I will not lie to you. So many opportunities will leave you. So many opportunities will fly. So many opportunities will evade you if you don't learn how to be expressive. The worst thing you get is ignorance, or get ignored, or get a no, or get a negative response. That's the worst thing you get. And most times you won't get that. You will see the person appreciating you. It's not a must to send a message to somebody and you get the response immediately. No, but make sure you have expressed your mind. I can see that nowadays the communication skills is actually improving because people are now very expressive. People are able to pour out their heart, pour out their mind, how they feel about something. So learn how to express gratitude as well. Another thing is respect. Respect, they say, is reciprocal, but then you must be able to give people respect, like, they say give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. For me, here, the Caesar here is respect. Anyone that is deserving of your respect, give them the respect. It's the more respect you give to people, the more respect they give back to you as well. So, and there is no how will I say put it? There is no movement in terms of respect. It's always forward and backward. If you give somebody respect, you actually earn the respect back as well. So let's move on to the next slide 7. Yeah. So slide 7. Stop. We have been speaking of building human relationship as well. So, but then you must have realized that from the way I've been speaking, there is actually a perception of, when you're trying to build a relationship after you must have established that relationship and using people, there is a thin line between building a relationship with people and trying to use people. So, but then how do we tell what that thin line is, and how do we what happens? So if I may ask, what comes to your mind when you hear people saying, or it starts people just like, you are calling me because you need me? Some people always angry about that. You are calling me because you need me. People always like, why is every time that you need me, you're always calling me? Is every time that you need me, you're always calling me? So what comes to your mind when we say the perception of people building a relationship and another perception of people using other people as well? Anyone, what comes to your mind? What's your opinion about that? What do you think when we say we are building a relationship and there's also another perception of people tending to use people? Anybody, please, the moderator can help me pick one person. What comes to your mind?
Okay, Scholar Khadija, you can go on.
Okay. I feel when you build a very good relationship with someone, anytime you need that person, the person will not feel reluctant to offer help. So I think the basis is just to get that relationship working.
Yeah, thank you. That's enough. So, like she rightly said, that's a good response. When you build a proper relationship with somebody, the thin line will not be there. Like they will not get that perception, that misconception that you're trying to use them because you have developed, you have established. You're not just building that relationship. You have established it, and you're not building on it along the line. So, what comes to your mind is people trying to like mistake it when you're trying to when you have built a relationship with somebody and people still think you are using them as well. But then this is where we now think of leveraging. So when you build a relationship with somebody and you're actually needing their effort, you need their favor, or you need their help on something, you're not using them. You're just leveraging on the relationship you have built. You are leveraging on the relationship you have built. And don't forget, you must have established that relationship using what? Using those clever ways, which are the words I spoke about clever ways. You spoke about one of the clever ways was what? The C. The C was yeah?
Cut.
Courtesy. Yeah, the L was anybody, the L was what?
Listening.
Listening, and the E,
Expressing
Emotional
gratitude.
intelligence.
respect, emotional intelligence, and there's a R, respect of a God. So all of those ways,
That
you must have established a thank you. You must have established a good human relationship with some of these persons by using these clever ways. And now you're not building, you have built on it. So it's the relationship you have built on that you now leverage on. You can't leverage on a relationship that is not there. And I'm a beneficiary of leveraging so many times because and that I'm not just a person, just not just me. Even when you look at your favorites, your celebrities, your top artists, do you think many artists can actually afford to pay some of their fellow artists properly? They have to pay them as per who they are based on what they charge. No, you see a typical say a Davido show, you see a typical some people show, and you see all the celebrities, you see them coming there to perform. It's not because he's able to, it's not because he cannot afford to pay them, but then he's not going to pay them what they charge normally per event. But then it's going to leverage on the relationship they have built over the years. You can't buy relationship. That's something you should learn. You can't buy relationship. Relationship takes time to build, so you build it over the years. You must have established it, and you don't just the same way you cannot buy relationship is the same way you must make sure you nurture valuable relationship must have built with people as well. So next slide, please. So let's talk about connection. Next slide, let's talk about connection. What is your own take on the word connection as loosely used in our society? So I've been talking about connection. Anybody can, what do you mean when they say connection? There are some people who say you need connection to get admission to this university, you need connection to get this job with CBN, you need connection to get, like I said, I shared my story at the beginning. I've been a beneficiary of connection and I've also been a beneficiary of merit. But then at the end of this presentation, I will conclude on a particular statement. So what is your own take on connection? Because we don't have time as well. We don't have so much time. So connection, the way we use it here, it has been abused. We have seen connection as a bad thing in the country. We have seen connection as people taking advantage, people depriving others that actually merit some positions, the right. And the fact is that connection is a thing. Connection is not just in Nigeria. Connection is all over the world. Connection is just that we call it connection in Nigeria. What then is referral? Referral is what they call it outside of Nigeria in some senior clients. That's what they call it. They call it referral. They call it recommendation. They call it referral. They call it recommendation. In fact, statistics shows that people get the rate at which companies, organizations give jobs to people. They actually prefer referrals more than just fresh applicants. So that's to show you how much somebody's referral can mean, how much a recommendation can mean. That's the meaning. So have you benefited from any instance or of the above or both? Personally, I have benefited from the two. And one thing I used to tell people is that even if there is a connection, even if you have connection, if you don't get a particular merit, if you don't have some particular basics, if you don't have some foundations, you cannot use it will not work. Even if it works, it's going to fail. You can't maintain it, you can't sustain it. So just imagine somebody who is not qualified for a position, and you're saying connection. Okay, anyways, you force yourself to put the person there. The person, it will show that the person is not qualified. You only use connection for people that actually have that particular foundation, have the basics. Like for instance, if I was not having my degree, if I was not done with my NYSC, if I was not done with if I was not having my NYSC certificate, I will not get the job in VI. I will not get the job with that bank in the headquarters. No. But then I had the basics, I had the foundation, I had the requirements, and that was why the connection was able to speak for me. You would not expect them to, because of the kind of caliber of person recommending me for that particular job, they will pick me first above every other person in that category, because we are going there with the same documents. But then somebody is speaking for me. And what kind of person is speaking for me? Somebody of the higher authority is speaking for me. So that will actually go first before our document. So another thing is, what will you subscribe to if you were an employer of labor? I will not dwell on this because there's a part where I have a question for us on that. So let's move to the next slide, please. How important is a recommendation letter to both parties involved? Why I use both parties is that most times we think we are the only ones doing, we think we are the ones, we think the recommenders are the ones doing us a favor most of the time. But then I would like to tell you now that it's actually a mutual benefit. The recommender is doing a favor, and you also do the recommender a favor. Because how are you doing the recommender is doing a favor by what? By actually speaking well of you, speaking good about you, to get you a job, to get you a position, to get you a portfolio with any organization in the world, any school in the world, anywhere in the world. Fine. But then you're also doing the favor by putting the recommender's name on the global map, because by that time the school, the organization, they're not familiar with this particular name. Okay, this particular name is a name, and these are the caliber of persons he or she has been recommending. You don't know. You see, I'm sure some of you must have experienced, if you have actually tried to get recommenders, some people are always reluctant to recommend. You see, it's always easy for some people to get recommendation from some professors, because those ones, some professors or some lecturers don't mind about the kind of people they recommend for. But you see some professors that they will drill you. They won't just give you a recommendation letter. Some people will ask you, okay, yes, I know you, but then I need to know more about you. Some lecturers will not even be able to give recommendation for you because it's so sensitive. For me, I see recommendation as a kind of being a guarantor. You're trying to guarantee that this person is good. This person is this and that. This person is excellent. This person is very good at teamwork. This person is good at whatever he does. You are speaking on behalf of the person. Someone that is not your son, someone that is not your daughter, someone that is not your father, someone that is not your mother, someone that is not your cousin. You are not related by blood, and you are able to speak well of that person. So how are you able to do that? Based on the relationship you must have established with that particular recommender, is how the person will be able to speak well of you. So it's important for both parties, because the person is recommending you for a job, and once you get the job or the scholarship or the admission, it's a win for you. The person also puts in his name, as because all of these schools, all of these organizations, they keep data, they keep track of data. They look at this person, okay, Professor Mujibat Bayo has actually been recommending this caliber of persons. So there is nobody that Professor Mujibat recommends that will not actually take, because the person has actually, they've seen that the caliber of persons this person has recommending, they've been doing well, excellently well. So let's move on to the next slide. So now this year, I will need us to engage. The next slide, I will need us to engage. So now I want to go to the professional world. Like I said, I'm not having this presentation based on academia, because at the end of the day, you'll be done with school, you enter the real world. The real world is very different, but then it's not very much different once you have learned all of these tenets, all of these basics from school. So professional world, I would give chance for 2, 3, 4 persons, and you give reasons. Who would you hire as a CEO of XYZ company? Can you see my slide? And can you read what I have on the screen? What we have on the screen? Okay, thank you. Who would you hire as the CEO of XYZ company? It can be your company, you can put your name. Scenario 1, a young first-class graduate of 25 years old from the Department of Accounting, referred to your HR department by a certain Tony Elumelu, who has backed this up with a recommendation letter from his experience with him at UBA. Scenario 2, a young first-class and overall best graduate of 22 years from the same department, who has submitted a compelling application for the same graduate training program. I emphasize on compelling, so that you know it's not a small application, it's very compelling. So anybody, 2, 3 persons, or the moderator can choose randomly. Tell me what scenario, who would you hire if you're a CEO of a company, and why? Any person?
Okay, Scholar Morof, you can go ahead.
Actually, if it is my company, based on the two persons, I'm going to consider the first one because he has a recommendation. And the reason why we do that is that at least based on what we have been learning from here, uh, you said recommendation just serve as a guarantor. So, but the other person, he didn't have recommendation. So he just tried to put things together so that it can make it to be attractive to the employer. So I would like to go for the first person.
Okay, another person. Let me just take one more and I will move on.
Okay, Scholar Nkosi Gidi. Okay, Scholar Fatima Abubakar. Scholar Fatima.
Anybody?
I think she's not there. Okay.
Okay, so we should just. All right, someone is speaking.
Sir, thank you, sir. Please, sir, you have 7 minutes more, sir.
All
You
right,
are
thank you.
extending it.
So I'll just I can't remember the person's name, but then what you said is correct. But then you would see that it's not just enough to say you're choosing it because someone has a recommender. No, I'll look at the kind of person recommended the person or this person. I'm talking about Tony Elumelu recommending somebody from UBA from his experience with the person at UBA. No matter what application this scenario two is submitting, no matter how young he is, whether he's the youngest graduate in Nigeria, whether he's 19 years, he's odd, 5.0 CGPA, I don't care. I will not give it. I will not look at it twice. For this 25 years old who is also a first class graduate and has worked in UBA. And from the experience with Tole Elumelu, they're able to recommend me. So that's to tell you how much recommendation can go. It speaks volume. Recommendation is that voice that you need on a particular table without any stress. So in this scenario, I'm going to pick scenario one because the person has a recommender, and this recommender is not just an average recommender; it's someone of the authority. This person has the authority to recommend this particular person for that particular role. So if it was a VDM, I know most of us might know VDM, very dark man. If I change Tony Elumelu to VDM now, the whole scenario will change. Will you still accept scenario one? If I put very dark man, I put a portable. How many of you know portable? If I put a portable name and replace Tony Elumelu with portable, will you still take scenario one, no matter what first class he is? In fact, you begin to doubt his first class. You begin to like, what kind of first class graduate is this recommend? You get, I'm sure you're able to get dynamics now. So recommender is not just about recommender, it's about the kind of person recommending you as well. Next slide, please. So I have a video here. I don't know if it's going to play out loud. There's no sound. I think the volume is muted. Can we get sound for this video, please? I'm not hearing anything, or we can't. I don't know. We can. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but we can't hear the video anyways. So what the video is? Anyway, you can read the caption. If you can't hear the voice, you can read the caption. So the teacher was telling the kid that you need the education to get a job, all those kind of things. And the boy was like, no, it's not, it's a lie, that you need connection because you need connection to get a job. And the teacher was asking him, and he said his brother told him that. And he said, the teacher asked him that, so what job is your brother doing now? And he said his brother doesn't have a job. And he asked why, because he doesn't have connection. So, but then in this scenario, I would not want us to dwell on it. At the end of this presentation, I'll conclude on what we're actually going to dwell on. So the next slide, please. The next slide. So I was, all right. There was a tweet from Tony Elumelu, I think in the last couple of days, maybe like 5 days ago. And if you can read the tweet, you see, it says, this is Tony Elumelu speaking. Talent I don't have. I surround myself with people who have it. You must recognize your limitations, but make sure you are intelligent enough to support yourself with those who are better. those who are more intelligent in that area than yourself. So the caliber of persons you build relationship with, make sure you are able to recognize that they are people of value, because you are bringing value to the table as well. You don't want to associate with people that don't have values. You understand? Because at the beginning of the slide, we have spoken about bringing values to the table. So when you are bringing values to the table, you must associate with people of great values as well. So next slide, please. Now go to the academia. In the world of academia as well, we recommendation is very sensitive. That's why I say I've already explained that. I said some professors, some lecturers will not recommend some persons, not because they don't know, but because they are not sure of the kind of image that person will actually paint. And as I put sacred, the word of academia is actually sacred. In fact, it's a cult. When you get to academia in the higher rank, you see that academia is a cult. We have politics in academia. You see the politics we see in the country; those are small politics. We have serious politics in academia and clan. So it's very sacred because people want to be sure that this person, because you are going with somebody's name, you are flying with my name. If I recommend Fatima Abubakar for a particular job now, you're not just going as Fatima Abubakar, you're going as Fatima Abubakar and Olamide Olaniyi, the two names together. Whatever you do with the two names is going to be forever. So if you go there and you make the names proud, I'll be able to recommend other people as well. But if you go there and mess up the name, mess up the opportunity, the next time I'll recommend anybody, they will not take the person, because they will look at, okay, the kind of person Olamide recommends are the kind of persons Fatima was. So another thing is academia. It gives you opportunities for growth. Once you're able to build proper relationship, you're able to grow, because your recommenders, they're able to recommend you for positions, for top positions, top jobs, top opportunities as well. And it has long-term benefit because you're able to keep your recommenders forever. Like I said, you must be able to nurture. There's another thing to actually establish relationship, another thing to build, and there's another thing to actually nurture. So you must be able to nurture that relationship with them forever. Communication skills. You must be able to develop your communication skills while you're actually engaging with your recommenders. One of the things that actually drains me the most mentally is writing emails. When I want to write emails, or when I want to send images to people top there, you need to be very careful with the kind of words you say. You must be expressive. When you're trying to be expressive, you need to be cautious of how the person will interpret the messages as well. So if I give you a task now, try and send a message to the governor. If I say try and send a message to the governor on, or say to the governor of Oyo State on the coronation of the Olubad of Ibadan that happened yesterday, how will you compose that message? It takes serious mental thinking to be careful of kind of your choice of words. So that's the way you communicate, you engage your mentors, your recommenders. They are not gods. They don't have 3 heads. It's just the way you communicate with them that times. Some of us are scared. I'm like, okay, if I say this, this person will not be angry, will not respond. And it's not you must respond. But once you don't know is that they are seeing those messages. I'm a testament to that. I've sent messages to some persons before, top persons, and they wouldn't reply until last minute. They just acknowledge it and just react. So all those kind of things. Next slide, please. So this is a video as well. I'm sure the voice will not. I've mentioned VDM in this presentation, but then it's so sad that we might not get it. I don't know. Except you're able to get the audio, or if you don't have the audio, whatever. All he's saying in this video, I'm sure some of us, if you are social media or if you are comment on social media, you must have seen this video as well. He was talking about how education is a scam. How you don't need education to get jobs in the country. How people use the top figures in the country use connection to give their children jobs, and they use it as a kind of punishment, like junior, I've just been jobless at home, you're not serious, or take it to CBN, and this is a lie. And these are the kind of persons filling our social media space. All of these are lies. There is nothing you can do without education. Like there's literally not. It's just a basic. If you think you have connection, nobody's going to put you in a place of position when you don't have the basic requirements. Just at least have a degree. So if you don't have a degree, you can't tell me I won't hire you in my company. Tony Elumelu will not hire you in his company, no matter the connection you have. So move to the next slide. So the conclusion: relationship is a form of currency on its own, and from what I've said, you must have realized that. Safe to say, it is the most valuable currency, as it is highly pivotal in the life trajectory of a man. That is, in everything that you do as a man, human being, you must actually engage with people. You can't live this life on your own. You can't live this world on your own. There must be somebody there you must be able to associate with. So, hence, demonstrating a strong one is a lifelong game changer. So, the ability to actually establish a relationship with people and build that relationship and nurture it is going to be a lifelong game changer for you all through your life. This as well is a video. I'm not sure the voice is going to play as well, but then what it's talking about is that things you need to do to achieve success, you must have OQP, engage with only quality people, engage with only quality people. people and do what? Improve your communication skills. So to end the presentation, the last slide, that's all I have for the presentation. Even though I hope I was able to do justice with the time, and I just spent more than I was given. So now this is time for you to demonstrate your relationship and relatability with this session as well. So if you're actually able to pick one or two things, I would like to have your questions and be able to answer as many as I can. Thank you.
Please, can we react with our emojis?
Please let's keep the emojis coming. It's a beautiful beautiful session with a lot of videos that are to pique our interest. Thank you very much, Sir Olamide Olabiyi, for that wonderful presentation. It's been a wonderful session so far. For me, in particularly, I love the way you differentiate between connection and referral. It's kind of very interesting. So the next item on the agenda will be the question and answer section for scholars having question for our facilitator. I'll be calling on our social media one in person of scholar Abdurrashid Akiri to anchor the question and answer section, which we're having 15 minutes for the session. On to you, sir, scholar Akiri.
Okay, before Akari comes on board, please, if you have your question, can you drop them in the chat box? The question in the chat box will be attended to before scholars will be called to unmute themselves and ask their question. Please, let's abide by the guidelines. Thank you.
So, Scholar Akiri, you can come on board.
Well, since Akari might be experiencing network downtime, so Scholar Mori, please kindly proceed with the session. Thank you.
Okay. Now, for the question and answer section, scholars should please draw their question in the chat box as it will be read out to the facilitator to answer our question, or raise up your hand. But we will first answer to the questions in the chat box before call on scholar to speak. Okay, currently we have no question in the chat box. So I will be calling on Scholar Fatima Ubakar to please ask her question. You can go on, Scholar Fatima.
All right. Okay, what about on the recommender side? So I've gotten a few recommendations from my mentor for some scholarships that I actually got. So I feel like after the gratitude, like should you give him, I don't know, a piece of what you got, maybe part of the prize or something like that? I think that's my answer.
Can I go ahead and answer the question? Thank you for the question. That was a very good question, and that shows you have actually been benefiting from your recommenders. Yes, nobody can determine how you appreciate your recommender. Nobody can tell me how I'm going to appreciate someone that recommends for a particular job or something I get, even if I don't get it. So you use your discretion. Whatever you feel is whatever you don't overthink it. One thing I've learned in life is that don't never overthink. Whatever you think is actually going to make sense, is going to be the best. Just do it. You'll be shocked that that person will be so overwhelmed. I'm like, wow. But when you overthink, you're like, will this person start thinking I'm giving him money, I'm giving him this, I'm giving him this? Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. So one thing you should try and don't overthink it. So whatever you think you must have gotten and you want to show as appreciation to your recommender, please go ahead. Nobody can tell you how to appreciate your recommender. Nobody, because we have different kind of persons.
Okay, Scholar Fatima, I hope the question was answered. Okay, I'll be reading another question in the chat box, said by Scholar Olabiyi Ridwan. The question goes thus: can we specify the contents of the recommendation letter to the recommender, especially when such is indicated in the process of the application? That's the question, sir.
All right, thank you. This boils down to the concept of relationship, the kind of relationship must have built with your recommender. I have been able to get recommendations from persons that they'll say, put whatever you want to put there, and they'll submit it. They won't even go through it. That's how much. So you see, there's difference between I want to use relationship now because I don't know. This is most of the things you hear on social media now is relationship. There's difference between relationship of 4 years and relationship of 10, 12 years. In a relationship of 2, 3, 4 months, you might not be able to tell you that go and write it on yourself. But then if you have built a relationship with somebody over time for like 8, 7, 9 years, the person knows you well enough that okay, anything you put there you can actually trust. So it depends on the recommender. If the recommender is comfortable with you, and you must have built that relationship to that extent whereby the person is comfortable with you to the extent that you can actually put in those words, whatever you want. But then I don't like to do that because I don't have to sing my praises. Like I want you to be sincere because I know I'm not going to have a bad recommendation from you anyways. But then just express in the best of your ways. And those recommenders, if you can compare your recommenders and you see the way they express themselves, some people can write the whole word about you and there won't be any line in any of it. So it depends on the kind of relationship you have built with them. But then it's not a bad thing, it happens. But it all depends on the level of relationship you have with the person.
Thank you, sir, for the beautiful answer. Now, scholars, do we still have another question? If so, please drop your question or raise your hand.
I think that I do not have any question, but I actually have a comment on the facilitator of today's session. My 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 dearest brother, thank you so much for being on this call, and thank you so much for the for honoring the invitation. Muhammad Adeyemi here once again. Um, I I actually think that is someone that is very ripe for the that's the perfect fit for the topic because. He is not just an ordinary scholar or a doctoral student that, at Missouri State, is it Missouri State Science
Yeah,
and
Missouri
Technology?
University of Science, yeah, MSc, Missouri
Yeah,
University of Technology.
yeah, he's not just an ordinary scholar, but then he's also a student. I mean, a committed student leader while he was a student in Lautech, Ogbomoso. He demonstrated his strength of the leadership spirit. He carried everybody along, and I think that when we actually met was during one of the commissioning engagements of the governor. I think when he was commissioning under G gate leading to Lautech second gate, and that was the first time I would meet him in person, and that relationship, and I see him as somebody that actually knows what he's doing. One is to be what do you call it, a student leader that does not know what he or she is doing and just being a student leader for student leader's sake. Another is being a student leader that demonstrates, the strength of knowledge, the strength of reasoning, the strength of courage, and also demonstrating bold ideas. And I would say that this topic is a very important topic because like each and every one of us, including this facilitator, has benefited from recommendations in one way or the other. And I'm quite very sure that you would have shared a lot of things based on that. I'm quite sorry that I joined late because I was on transit and I just got now. But then I would also say that I have an example of myself. I think I was contesting for an election and I need a strong recommendation letter from the Nigerian government. So I had to go through Mr. Olabiyi, Olamide. Actually, those this person that I'm saying, that I want to refer now is my elder brother, Abiodun Oluwaseun. Yes, at the time, I think it was in 2021, yes, or 2022, I can't recall either of the two. So I actually need a strong recommendation letter from the government of Nigeria to speak about me, at the Pan Commonwealth level. And I leveraged on my personal interaction, with L'Oreal to get a strong recommendation letter from the Office of the Commissioner for Youth and Sport Development in Oyo State. That letter was because when I actually got into what do you call it, into the role which I still currently serve, and I saw the recruitment process. I saw that, oh, there were even some people from other countries because they even verified, this recommendation letter. Is it truly a strong recommendation letter or a fabricated recommendation letter? What do you call it? The then Commissioner for Youth and Sports Development in the United States, Honorable Sean Fakorede, he used a green pen, to appendix his signature on that recommendation letter. This is, if I did not know Lawrence, even if I did not know the Honorable Commissioner directly, but at least I know Laurel, that was a stepping stone. And in fact, I don't, this is a two-page recommendation letter. Someone writing a two-page recommendation letter for you, and that speaks a whole lot. So and another thing again is that this generation, I don't know, I think the young generation of people that we have just think that relationship, I'm not talking about boyfriend and girlfriend though, but they think that maybe relationship is what do you call it? Is a walk in the park. No, it is not. This is a continuous process. It is not only because of today. In fact, tomorrow you don't know what will happen. I don't know, maybe I would later be the person that will also later recommend Sean Fakorede somewhere later in the future, That is how life is, you understand? Sometimes you are here today, sometimes the other person is there tomorrow, you understand? So it is because of the cordial relationship that you have built, like over time that would ensure that and recommendation letter, I'm quite sure that you cannot like overemphasize it. Like in application process, it is an integral part of the application process. And so, just I need to thank you very much for like for your time and for your expertise. Thank you so much out of your busy schedule. Deeply appreciated. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for the words. I think I got some questions there. If you don't mind me answering them, because some questions were they are very. So now let me start with Noimo Kende. Which of the recommendation letter is the best? HOD of one's department, traditional ruler, level officer, and the likes. So it all depends on what you are trying to apply for, what you are trying to get, and nobody says you cannot get 4 recommendation letters. Nobody says you cannot get 10 recommendation letters. In fact, recommendation letters are document that you should actually always document as well. You should always keep them as well. So if, in this case, I don't know whatever you're applying for. It depends on whatever you're applying for. For instance, you cannot be applying to academia and want to use your traditional ruler for like a scholarship. No. In that case, you have to go for your HOD's department. But you cannot be applying for a bursary and trying to apply for a bursary and you do, or in a state or in your local government, and you don't want to input your traditional ruler. So it depends, it's contextual. It depends on the context you are looking at it from. Another one is from Samuel
Aqua.
The next one is from Samuel Oluwanifemi. He said, with the way people abuse connection and recommendation, my question is it proper for a recommender to request for a bribe or compensation since it is called compensation? So I'm thinking it's additional for a recommendee. This question is very interesting. And I think that was the first question I saw. And you don't call something bribe and call it compensation. A bribe cannot be a compensation. A compensation cannot be a bribe. You understand? And all of this depends on the kind of relationship you have with the person. You can't, I cannot bribe my way to get a recommendation letter from anybody. If you don't know me enough, you don't have that relationship enough, I will not even approach you to get it. Or if there's nobody, like you said in the story, if there was no lawyer or somebody that knows someone that knows him, I will not approach. So all of these recommendation letters, they're always for free. That's why I told the other person that your discretion, whatever you think you want to do to appreciate that person is enough. You don't but then this is Nigeria. There are some excesses. You cannot rule out the fact that all of these things happen. So I know what you're saying. Whereby a lecturer will say, go and buy me something, go and buy me mods, go and give me 20,000, find a letter for you. Yeah. But then that shows the kind of person you are as well. It shows you're not bringing values. You have not added value. You're not bringing value to that person. You're not a person of great value, because if you're a great person of great value, even the lecturer will not even want to try and tell you that kind of thing. Like, okay, bring him on, because he knows you bring value, you add value to him, and it's also going to add value to you. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody has ever requested me any amount of money from me to recommend me or recommend anybody for anything. in this life before. So it depends on the kind of values you are bringing to the table as well. And that's why I mentioned value. Value system is very important. There's another one from Abdulrazak Mohammed that says, is there a specific difference between connection and referral other than how we use them in our societies? Thank you. There's no difference. There is, my brother, there is no difference. So, in Nigeria, people always say, it's connection I used to get job. When you go to America, it's referral that used to get job. So what's different between referral and connection? So somebody can just be in a national lab and they call, oh, we need some students. In fact, people go and do internship in big companies, Microsoft, all the big companies, and they go back to school and they and the employers, those return interns, they are still in school, but the employers will reach out to them that, do you have anybody that you think can qualify for this role in our company? Once it drops a name like this, that name is gone. But why do you think companies like Shell and some other big companies, you don't see their vacancies? How many times do you see vacancies from Shell outside? How many times do you see it publicly advertised? No, because they don't depend on, they will just leave like very minute, maybe 10%. The 90% of the quota is gone. People have recommended somebody, oh, we have somebody from this department, graduate of first class, somebody, oh, I have a friend, I have a family friend whose son did this. And that's why I say education, you need education as a basic for it. So I won't say because I have a family whose friend, whose son or daughter is actually not, it's just unserious, but because I know the person who put him in a job. No, you have to have the basics. So you see, that's how all those things work. So connection and referral, they are the same thing. Connection, referral, they're actually the same thing. It's just what we use in our society. And this is the last one from Olaiwola Ridwan. He said, in some internship programs, a recommendation letter is usually issued. Does such recommendation letter fit for all purposes? Or what is the purpose does this for his letter like that? Yes, all my documents, all my letters from my IT days, from Aptech, Nigeria, from Lautech, from commendation on serving on committee, on serving on, protest committee, on serving on so many committees, all those commendation letters, I keep them today. They might not be useful today, but then one day, someday they will be useful. So all of these documents, they are good documents. They speak well of anything that speaks well of. You should keep them and you should document them. If I put them on your drive, put them in store so that in the future you can always present it at any point in time. They know that this person is actually of good character and standard. So I think I've been able to answer the questions I have, and I really relinquished my time here. And it was, like I said at the beginning of the slide, it is strong tie. It is relationship that actually brought me here. So if I don't know the convener, if I don't know him, we have never met before in Lautech, and you didn't even need to meet. You didn't need to meet every time. We didn't need to meet like 1 million times. No, you just get to meet once and twice and engage, and once in a while we say hello. But then you've seen that this person is a person of value, and people of value. One thing is people of value, they resonate together. You just see them. You just see them finding themselves and align accordingly. So you don't need to always be in touch. You don't need to always say no. But then just once in a while when you see this person of great value. So we didn't need to like be going out together, be playing football together. No, that's not relationship. Once you meet somebody once, you're able to tell this kind of value this person has. Can I accommodate it? And that's how you actually build relationship. So I really want to say, like this now, I've built another relationship with all of us on this particular platform, and if there's any other question, you can always, the convener can always send you my email, and you can always send me an email and just tell me you're from this platform. Thank you.
I think we need to appreciate our facilitator well enough. Please, let me see your emojis. Let the emojis keep coming. Let me just add some things. I think from what I deduce, from what you have said so far, there's actually a difference between knowing people and people knowing you. And moreover, you also said relationship is an investment. For you to kind of request for recommendation letter from people, you should have invested something, no matter how little it is, for you to get actually a very good and compelling recommendation. So please, scholars, I know you have learned a lot today. Please let's keep that in practice. Then Scholar Dayab, please kindly fill in. Thank you. Okay, Scholar Olabiyi, if you are still on call, there seems to be a question that that was skipped. It states thus: we talked about keeping a recommendation letter, keeping a recommendation letter being issued before. My question is, a recommendation letter from a professor, can it be reused without informing such a professor in case such professor's contact was lost?
You can't have a solid relationship with a professor and you lose the contact and not get the contact back. So if you lose the contact of a professor and you know this person is actually of high value to you and somebody that you still want to build relationship with, you can lose the contact and be at peace or be at calm. You get the contact. So but then if it's a recommendation letter whereby you have that relationship already with that person and nobody can tell what kind of relationship you have with people. I know people that I don't need to contact them, even though contacting them is very fast, but I can just whatever they've given me. So that's why most times we say address the letter as to whom it may concern. It becomes a case like that, and it takes a professor that you actually have a good relationship with to do that for you. Because for a person to do that for you, he knows you have the tendency of using it for different kind of applications. So if someone has done that for you already, it means the person trusts you enough that no matter where you want to apply it for, you can go ahead. But then when you lose your professor's contacts, it shows you need to get it back as well. Because by the time you get the application, you get the opportunity, you must be able to appreciate him as well.
Hello. I think the session comes to an end.
Is the co-common idea to give end of the session to do the closing? Could I see the closing part of the session, please? Hello,
Oh,
can you
Combina,
hear
are
me?
you there, please?
Is she on call?
No, I don't think she is on call.
Okay,
I'm
fine,
on
fine.
the call.
I believe.
Okay, ma.
Okay,
So
please can you go
go
ahead?
ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, scholars, for attending today's session. And a big appreciation goes to our facilitator also. I believe he did justice to the topic given to him, and I believe scholars have also learned how to go about building relationship with people that will recommend us. It is until you build relationship before you'll be able to request for a recommendation letter from your lecturers and others like that. So do not say I'm not concerned, there's no need for any lecturer to know me, or I'm just staying on my own. So you definitely need their help sometime, except you just want to stay in one place and you don't want to be dynamic. So I believe we've all learned. So moving forward, let's all take all these ideas into our the ways we act, like the way we behave in the school premises and among others. So thank you very much for attending. See you in the next webinar. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Combina. And with this, we come to the end of today's program. And I wish all scholars will go and take what they have learned. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next upcoming webinar. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye everyone.